All right, so I wanted to talk about, do men still approach women? And I think the answer is yes, but it's changed a little bit, right? Before the internet, I think the only way you were really going to meet someone, obviously, you didn't have social media, was you had to go up and talk to them, right? So your social skills, your ability to communicate, to kind of talk off the cuff, was going to have to be better, right? You couldn't just use your cell phone or go on a dating app or go on social media and message someone, right? So that has really changed over the last 20, 30 years, because with the internet and dating apps and social media, basically, a lot less people are going up and approaching people in person, right? Because they feel like maybe it's a little bit scary now. They don't want people saying bad things about them online. They don't want to get recorded, maybe. And now they can just do it maybe behind their phone and do it anonymously, right? So there's no shame either in it. In the past, people probably took rejection a lot better because there wasn't really a different alternative. Like if you wanted to go up and talk to someone, you had to go up and talk to them. Now you can message them on social media, or you can hope to just match, like I said, anonymously with someone online that you like their picture, and you can move on to the next one. And a lot of the stuff that I have watched, it's like, oh my gosh, guys are withdrawing. They are not approaching women as much. And I think in large part that's true. If you do something and you're not getting results, a lot of the guys, they can change what they're doing maybe, but a lot of them will just kind of give up. Like they'll stop playing that game. They'll do something else. They'll go play video games. Maybe they'll go to the gym. They'll find a hobby that they like to do. They'll learn a new language, or they'll learn an instrument, or something else outside of pursuing women. And that, like some people would say, well, you can just improve yourself, and then, more women will come maybe. And I'm not going to disagree with that, but you're kind of dealt whatever hand you have. And the statistics, at least for online dating, certainly show if you're not tall and good looking, you have a very low chance of having success on a dating app. The women can basically choose whoever they want on there. And that's just the reality of it. There's way more guys on those apps, and the guys swipe yes on so many people, over 50%, and the women can swipe on 3 to 5%, and they can essentially match with whoever they want. Now, they're not going to get relationships with those guys, because the top 10% of guys or so, at least in terms of looks, they also have, they can choose whoever they want. They don't have to settle down. They don't have to do much. They don't have to put out a lot of effort to get results. They can essentially just show up, and they can have their selection of women. So if you're in the top 10% of guys, you're really loving it. If you're in the top, if you're basically all women, you can have an interaction with a guy, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a long-term thing. So the real losers of the online dating game are basically the majority of men. And so they realize after putting time into that, it's just not worth it. And that's why they are doing other things. Now, in the past, all guys would have had to gone up in person and struck up a conversation. And that's really the best way to do it, I think, still, because that's a real interaction. The woman is going to remember that. Even if you're not the best looking guy, you're not the tallest, you're not maybe the most in shape guy. If you have a decent personality and you're confident and you go up and you're somewhat smart and friendly, you might have a good chance with someone that might be a little bit out of your league just in terms of looks, right? But now, because so many people, younger people especially, they never really had to develop those skills to go up and talk to people, and they are hiding behind their phone. And the problem with that as a guy, if you hide behind your phone as a guy, you're going to get nothing unless you're a very good looking guy, right? because women, I mean, everything's very superficial on a dating app, obviously, or on social media, but women are only probably going to be inclined to respond to you if they find you attractive, because they don't know anything about your personality, right? It's just an app. All they see is a picture. And if they don't like it, they just swipe no. They just move on to the next one, right? But if you went up in person and you met them, then you know that you're going to have a much longer lasting impression. They might feel more inclined to respond to you and give you a chance, even if you're not maybe someone that fits their normal, you know, their type, right? So if guys aren't doing that, then they're not going to stand much of a chance. And that's, you know, they're withdrawing. They're not doing it as much. They're finding other things, video games. They're, you know, focusing on other things, right? And that's the rational response to it. Like, why would you continue to put in a bunch of time and energy into something where the yield is zero, right? If you're a guy and you're trying to go up to women, or you're on the dating apps and you're not getting anything out of it, eventually you're going to say, this just isn't worth it anymore. Like, I'd rather just play video games, or I'd rather read a book, or go for a run, or go ride a motorcycle, or you know, do anything but this. It's just not, it's not worth the time. So and the last thing I'll say about it is, basically, if you're a guy and you just, if you just wait for something to happen to you as a guy, nothing happens, right? It's very unlikely that a woman is going to just come into your life. It's very unlikely that you're going to open up your Facebook or whatever social media program you have, and you're going to have 20 or 30 messages from women asking to know more about you. It's very unlikely that you're even going to have 1 or 2 women reaching out to you. But conversely, if you look at women, essentially all they have to do is just show up. If they have a social media, they'll probably get lots of messages from guys that want to know them more, or want to offer to do things with them. If they show up physically at the coffee shop, or at the mall, or at the gym, or at any public place, they'll probably get inquiries from guys that come up to them and are asking them for their number, or giving them a compliment, and are kind of opening up a interaction. Guys are doing that less, but there are still guys that do it, right? If they see a good looking girl, they'll say something to her and try to make something happen. Because guys know if they don't do that, that they're gonna, no, nothing's gonna happen. Guys know that internally. If I don't go and say this to this girl that I think you're pretty and I want to know you more, she's not gonna say it to me, even if I am a good looking guy, right? It's very unlikely that the woman's gonna say anything. And go up and ask women, like, even if you are a woman and you're watching this, like, how many guys have you actually gone up and initiated the conversation? Probably very low, right? Even if you were to ask, you know, really good-looking women, they would, or just meet middle of the road in terms of looks, women, right? They probably don't have to approach men ever, and they get inundated with a bunch of guys on social media, or if they go on a dating app, they'll get lots of likes. If they go out in public, they'll probably have guys come up to them and offer something to them. And if you're a guy, that just doesn't happen, right? So that's the game, really. And it's all great if you're a guy that has a high success rate, right? And it's great if you're just a normal woman, because the women can just sit, they can just show up, and they can pick and choose what they want, right? But the majority of guys are not guys that most women would find attractive, right? And that's the math, right? I think it's women basically said that 80% of guys are unattractive, which doesn't even make sense, but that's what they said. So if you're not in the top 20% looks wise as a guy, basically nothing's going to happen for you. So you have to go out and you cannot rely on technology to get you anywhere. You're going to have to go out and actually make something happen. But what I'm saying is that guys know that, and then they go out and they try to do all this stuff as a guy that's in the bottom 80%, and you're not getting anywhere, right? Like, the women are very non-committal. They don't really want to open up to you. They don't really want to get to know you more. It's like pulling teeth to get them to want to do anything with you. And they're always kind of spinning plates because they know they have so many other options, or they open up their social media and they have guys messaging them. So it's tough because you feel like you can be working really hard to try to get a genuine connection with someone, and then the women have basically, like unlimited options in their mind. So it's difficult to compete with that. So anyways, I don't know, I've kind of went on a tangent there, but let me know what you think. You guys can subscribe for more, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.